Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to our 5th of 6 educational webinars on first-time home buyers. I am Mike Elsey with LC Real Estate, and this is Jerome Trail from Soho Mortgage. In this episode, we're going to go over the offer process and what to expect. My role will be to discuss the offer process from the realtor side, and Jerome will be talking about what happens with the lender. In episode 6, the final episode of this webinar, we'll be discussing contracts and clauses. So this episode, we're focusing specifically on the offer process. So let's say we've gone out, we've viewed a bunch of homes, and have finally found a home that you want to make an offer for. The first step is to inform me, the realtor, that you're interested in the property we viewed earlier that day and think about moving forward. If there is time, I would always like to make another appointment with the property and do a final walkthrough. This is just to ensure that you want to move forward, because you'll always notice something in the home on the second visit that you may have not noticed on the first. After the viewing, it is best to look at comparable properties in the area that have sold recently to try to see if the property that you like is over, under, or at market value. Since no house is the same, the process can be a little difficult, but it is your realtor's job to go and look at the comparable properties. Personally, when I price a home, I use 3 different strategies to find out the approximate market value. I get asked all the time, what determines the sale price in real estate? The answer is, it's the buyer, the seller, and the competition. The buyer has the budget and is motivated to buy the home. We would put in an offer, and then we start the negotiation process, trying to get the home for as fair of a price as possible. The next person who determines the sale price is the seller. The seller's motivation will either range between they're motivated and eager to sell and they want to negotiate on price, or they may not be motivated at all and want to hold on to the home until the price is met. The final factor is competition. If you are buying a home in a new subdivision and there's 6 of the same homes in the same neighborhood, then you can pick which home you decide to negotiate with. On the other hand, though, if you find a house that is hot and 15 real estate agents want to put in an offer, then the competition for the home is high and you are now in a bidding war situation. Just so you're aware, houses don't always sell on price alone. Never underestimate the power of a flexible closing date, large deposit, and going light on the conditions. There are 3 ways that the offer process will happen, and it's all determined by the selling agent. The first method is to fax or email the offer to the agent. This method is long and drawn out. The buyer drafts an offer, the agent emails it over to the selling agent, the seller's agent reviews the offer, then the seller agent then reverses the whole process, and a few phone calls are made in between. This method can keep you in negotiations for days. The second method in which the offer can be reviewed is when the buying agent can be present to present the offer to the seller. The agent will go sit down at the seller's kitchen table and walk them through the offer. This is a great opportunity because you get to speak to the selling clients, you can just build a relationship, and you can also find out a little bit of motivation from the sellers. This way, if there's any sign back or they decide not to take the offer, you can go back to your clients and adjust the contract. The third option for how an offer can be reviewed is through a bidding war. This is when there's multiple offers on a home. I recommend that you sit down and talk with your agent to walk through a bidding war. Bidding wars are not scary and they can be easily handled and won, and not by overpaying for the home. But the important thing is that you have a strong strategy and you stick to the strategy. The number one advice I can give for you on this is that you pick a number and you stick to it, because bidding wars, they are successful due to people getting very emotional in it. Anyhow, that's it from my part. I'd like to hand this over to Jerome. Jerome, please share us what happens on the offer process from your side.
Excellent advice on the bidding wars, Mike. Bidding wars have definitely changed the lending landscape. With properties selling over asking, then lenders and insurers have a difficult time ascertaining the proper value of the place. Hence, they're not sure how much they can lend on it. So we've had a lot of expectation gaps amongst buyers and also amongst lenders. So the best we can do is, ideally, as we discussed in the last webinar, is try and educate the buyers, yourselves, as best we can. So with enough time and advanced planning, we'll be able to walk you through that process and hopefully alleviate a lot of the stress. Of course, it comes down to a lot of communication between the realtor, yourselves, and us. So quite frankly, crunching the numbers and really talking through the process is the best way that we can equip clients, Mike.
All right, thank you very much, Jerome. I really appreciate your input. We have thrown a lot of information at you in the last 5 webinars, and we're about to throw a lot more in the 6th webinar. If there's any questions you guys have, please do not hesitate to get in touch with Jerome and I. We are here to touch and we are here to help, and our contact information is at the end of the movie. Thank you again for watching, and stay tuned for the next webinar where we will be discussing contracts and, more importantly, the conditions that are in the contracts. Thank you very much, and take care.